Hello, I'm Ollie and this is Criminally, where I talk about crime, pulp, horror, that kind of thing. Today, my final book haul before I start the Read What You Won't challenge. Now, I say this is my final book haul, so I'm filming this on the 28th of October. So I've still got like 8 or 9 days before the Read What You Own challenge starts. I'm not intending to buy any more physical books. This is a physical book haul video. I'm not going to show any Kindle books in this video. So this is a physical book haul video. I'm definitely not planning to buy any more books before I start the Read What You Own challenge. There's nothing out there that I'm aware of I particularly want at the moment. I've got everything, set up nicely for the next few months in terms of reading. I can't guarantee I won't buy the odd Kindle book if a Kindle book turns up in a deal that I particularly want between now and the 6th of November when I start the challenge. But I'm definitely not intending to buy any more physical books. That's my plan. Now, that said, we all know that my impulse control is not always fantastic. So you may find that there's a little extra bit tagged on at the end of this video where I look slightly different, wearing a different t-shirt or whatever, and talk about another book that I happen to have acquired. But anyway, these are the books that I've got as of today. So there are a few things that have been gifted to me and a few things I bought, and a couple of things that have been sent to me by authors or publishers. So let me go through them. They are in no particular order, but yeah, I'll go through them. So the three most recent things I bought, all of which I got in the last couple of days, all of which I'm really excited about. Let me show you. So I've got Godzilla and Godzilla Raids Again by Shigeru Koyama, translated by Jeffrey Angles. So this is a double novelisation of what I think are the first 2 Godzilla movies. So originally published in Japan in the 50s, only very recently, this is a brand new edition, only very recently translated into English. So I love movie novelisations, I love Godzilla, I love the fact that this book looks super, super classy, but is in fact a couple of novelisations of trashy movies. So really, really looking forward to reading this, and we'll be reading it for the Novelisation November event, which is running in November. Also got a couple of other things. So this one I saw on, whose channel did I see it on? I think it was Rachel at the Shades of Orange talked about this book. It looks fantastic, and what a wonderful kind of gothic romance style cover. So this is Bluebeard's Castle by Anne Biller. So Anne Biller is, I believe, a filmmaker. Directed a movie called The Love Witch, which I haven't seen. This is her first novel. This is I think kind of a blend of gothic romance, but with strong feminist message to it. So yeah, really looking forward to that one. And also picked up, so I just reviewed recently on the channel, Tell Me I'm Worthless by Alison Runfit, which I thought was fantastic. Just picked up her new book, Brainworms. I do quite like the American cover. So with Tell Me I'm Worthless, I definitely prefer the UK cover. But I do quite like the American cover. But then this cover is kind of really punky and cool as well. So anyway, really, really looking forward to reading this. I thought Tell Me I'm Worthless was superb. Right, what we got next? So this was very kindly sent to me by Bob Dice. He's one of the publishers. So this is the latest issue of Men's Adventure Quarterly, entitled Croc Attack. So the Men's Adventure Quarterly publications reprint stories and articles and artwork and things like that from Men's Adventure magazines from kind of the 50s, 60s and 70s. So this kind of thing. So you get a wonderful mix of stuff. I've never not had a good time with a Men's Adventure publication. They do great stuff. So lovely reprints of artwork. You get fantastic kind of trashy stories, interesting articles. They're always a good time. So very much looking forward to reading that. And thanks again to Bob for sending it to me. Speaking of things that got sent to me, so I have shown this in an unboxing video, but it's so lovely I thought I would show it again. So this was sent to me by Heidi, one of my patrons. So this is a first edition, and it definitely looks definitely looks like an antique book. So a first edition of The Border Legion by Zane Grey, dating from, I can't remember the date of it now. Hold on, let me find it. Dating from 1916, so over 100 years old, and just a beautiful, beautiful object. Heidi also sent me this lovely Taschen horror cinema book, which has got beautiful photos and things like that from various horror movies, with kind of little articles about those movies as well. A really, really fantastic book, beautifully put together, as Taschen books tend to be. I was, as a teenager, used to find Taschen books in bookshops, and they often had saucy pictures in them, so they were a source of much entertainment and amusement for me and my friends. But yeah, this looks like a fantastic book, so very much looking forward to flipping through that. Picked up a few comics as well recently, so if you're in the UK you will recognise these Commando comics. So these have been published since I think the 70s, if not earlier than that. So World War II comics. What I didn't realise is they do some kind of horror themed ones as well, which I picked up on through a post that Roy Reads Anything made. So I picked up the 4 latest editions of these when I was in the newsagents the other day. So we've got Dawn of the Gorgons, which is a modern one. So some of these are reprints of kind of classic ones. Some of them are new ones. So this is one of the new ones. I think this one, Beneath, is also a new one. Let me check. Yep, this looks like it's a new one. So that looks very good. Fantastic cover artwork as well. The artwork inside isn't quite as good. It's still good, but it's not as good. But their covers are always phenomenal. And then a couple of classic ones. So The Haunted Wood. So I've actually read this one. This one was good. I read this last weekend. And Renegade Sergeant. So these all look like a lot of fun. And I'm very tempted to subscribe. So you can get a subscription to Commando. So they're quite expensive, I think. £2.75 is what you pay in the shops. If you get a subscription, they work out at just a little more than £1 each. So I'm tempted. After the Read What You Own challenge, maybe I'll do that. Some more books then. So I've talked about this one on the channel because I've read it already. So this is Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus, which I did a buddy read of with Ellis, one of my patrons. So this was a very, very entertaining 50s set novel about a female scientist who becomes a TV personality. Really, really enjoyed it. Definitely worth checking out if you like the sound of that. And recently has become a TV show on Apple TV, I believe. So a couple of things that got sent to me by, one by the author. So this is The Devil's Cauldron by Sherman Richards. Didn't come with a covering note or anything like that, but looks like an interesting horror novel. So we'll dig into that at some point. Certainly got an entertaining cover. And then also got, and I have shown this on the channel, Myrtle, so the second book of Myrtle puzzles. So these are kind of logic puzzles based around murder mysteries. I will be, so I've already done one video where I solved one of these puzzles. I will probably be doing a few more of those because people seem to quite enjoy that, and it was quite a fun video to do. My dad gave me the other day this book. So this is Waldo and Magic Incorporated by Robert Heinlein. So 2 short novels by Heinlein, both I think from the 50s. Oh no, one's from, let's have a look. So, I can't even tell. There's so many different copyright notices at the start of this book. I think they're both quite old. So my dad says Waldo he doesn't really rate, but Magic Incorporated he thinks is wonderful. So let me read you the blurb for Magic Incorporated. A story of the future when the supernatural has become big business, when witchcraft is regulated by the Chamber of Commerce and a very traditional protection racket is moving in on the neighbourhood using some very elemental threats. So looking forward to giving that a try and seeing what I make of it. And then finally, so this is one of the things that I'm worried could trip me up during the 100 book challenge. And I need to make sure I take some preparatory action so that it doesn't. So I'm a big fan of trashy vintage books, so classic horror and things like that, as people will know. But often books like that are difficult to come by. Like in the original paper copies, it can be very expensive. So the thing I do is when I come across one, I look, or when I come across one that I know I want to buy, I will look around and see if I can find an affordable second-hand copy of it. If I can't, then I set up a saved search on eBay. And what you often find with these vintage horror books is they turn up on eBay and people will have them listed as like buy it now, a buy it now price of like $100 or £100 or whatever, like ridiculous speculative prices. But if you are patient and set up some safe searches, and if you do a safe search, you can get it so it sends you an email as soon as a book that meets or an item that meets your criteria is listed on eBay. If you do that, after a while, you will tend to find that either someone puts one up at an affordable price, or someone puts up an auction. And when an auction goes up, typically you can end up getting the book for a lot less than the silly buy it now prices that people put up. So one such book that I've been trying to get hold of a copy of for over a year, I think, is this Children of the Black Sabbath by Anne Hibbert. So I cannot remember where I heard about this book. I think it was on BookTube, but I can't remember who it was. But it's a book that is it's kind of effectively out of print. I think fairly recently, a new special edition of it was published, which is like expensive. It's like a fancy pants edition, and that's the only way you can buy it now. And I wasn't prepared to pay that much money for it. I think it was like 30 quid or something like that. So I'd set up an eBay safe search, and it eventually came through, and I've picked this up. So I think it's a horror novel about horrific nuns, which sounds pretty good. So I'm interested to read it. It's supposed to be genuinely disturbing, so we will see what I make of it. Nuns are quite creepy, or can be quite creepy. So yes, looking forward to reading that at some point soon. So that's everything I've picked up. Hopefully I don't end up filming a little addendum to this video. Hopefully that's it. I'm looking forward to doing this Read What You Own challenge and seeing how I get on with it this year. If you're taking part too, do let me know in the comments. Do let me know also if you've read any of these books, particularly Children of the Black Sabbath, because I'm really keen to learn more about it. But anyway, I will leave it there. Okay, so inevitably, perhaps, certainly predictably, I have ended up buying 3 more books, which I will talk about now. So I've got 2 of them here. The third one has not yet been delivered, so I only bought it yesterday. And these are just like classic impulse buys. So Michael K. Vaughan put up a video yesterday, I think, or yesterday when I'm filming this anyway, talking about out of control book buying, and these are evidence of that trait, which I recognise in myself, which is why I'm doing the 100 book challenge. So one of these books, so let's talk about this one first. So this is a book that was mentioned in the comments. So 2 of these books were mentioned in the comments, the 2 I've got here. So this one was mentioned by Troy Tradup when I did I think it was on my November TBR video, where I talked about the Godzilla novelisation I'm going to be reading for Novelisation November. And he mentioned this book, Gojira by Mark Jacobson, and said it was a really wonderfully entertaining book. It's out of print now, I believe. I managed to get a cheap second-hand copy off eBay, which is in very good condition actually, almost unread, or certainly carefully read rather than unread. So this looks really fun. It looks to be about the kind of comic adventures of Godzilla and a little kid. So looking forward to reading that at some point. Whether I'll read it during the Read What You Own challenge, I'm not sure, but it does look like an interesting and entertaining read. And then also in the comments, somebody randomly commented, and apologies because I forgot to make a note of your name, had I ever read this book and would I consider reviewing it? And it's a book I haven't read, but it's a book I remember. So I remember seeing this book in bookshops, like newsagents, things like that, when I was a teenager. Very much, next to a lot of books I did end up reading. So published by Headline, he also published Richard Lehman, and I read loads of Richard Lehman stuff back then. It is Jericho Falls by Christopher Hyde. So never read any Christopher Hyde, never read Jericho Falls, but it sounds like a blast. So let me read you the blurb on this, because it just sounds fantastic. It's Halloween, and the picture postcard town of Jericho Falls is preparing its annual celebration party. What none of its citizens know is that for most of them, this Halloween will be their last. A van driver suffers a fatal heart attack and crashes, turning his vehicle into a 3-ton coffin. As its deadly cargo seeps out into the peaceful town, the inhabitants begin to die in horrible agony. When Sheriff Jack Slater, That's a good sheriff name, isn't it? When Sheriff Jack Slater calls for help, he finds the telephone dead, the radio jammed, and the town itself cordoned off. No one can get in or out. Someone has turned Jericho Falls into a mausoleum. So it just sounds like a great horror thriller. So whoever it was, and apologies again for forgetting your name, thank you very much for recommending this. It looks like a blast. So looking forward to reading that. And even though it's a bit thicker, I may read this one during my Read What You Own challenge. So finally then, Sarah from the channel The Bookish Knitter posted on Instagram the other day a short review of a book she'd just finished, a Harlequin romance, naturally, because that's her speciality, and it just looked great. So the cover is fantastic, and it's got a title that made me snigger a little bit, because it's a slightly it's a title you could easily build an innuendo around, should you be of that kind of mindset, which I am. So the book is called Brace for Impact, and it's by Janice K. Johnson. So it's a romantic suspense novel about a plane crash, which sounds, who wouldn't want to read that? Who would not want to read that? Fantastic cover as well. So and Sarah gave it a very good review too. I think she gave it 4.5 stars out of 5. So I looked around. I could buy a Kindle copy of just that book for £2.99, or for like £2.20, I think, on eBay. I could buy a Mills and Boon double, which has got Brace for Impact and also Colton Baby Conspiracy by Marie I'm going to struggle over Marie's surname, Ferrarella. So Colton Baby Conspiracy is another fantastic title. I love the idea of a baby conspiracy. What are the babies conspiring about? I'll have to read the book and find out. So yeah, so really looking forward to both of those. So those should arrive next week. And I'm definitely planning to read some Harlequin romance during the Read What You Own challenge. So I may well read Brace for Impact and maybe the Baby Conspiracy book as well. So yes, so it's now, I'm filming this on the 4th. So I've only got today and tomorrow to, restrain myself from buying any books. I'm not leaving the house today. The weather outside is terrible, so I'm not intending to go into town or anything like that. So that should reduce temptation. I have also bought a ton of Kindle books in the last week. I think I bought 10 the other day, but I'm not even going to talk about those. I'm just focusing on the physical books for this book haul. So yes, hopefully I'm done now. Hopefully you enjoyed this little extra part, whether you expected it or not. I suspect you did expect it. Anyway, I will leave it there and hand back to myself for the closing part of the video. Anyway, I will leave it there and say, as always, thank you very much for watching. Hope you're safe and well out there. Hope you're reading good stuff, and I'll speak to you again very soon. Cheerio.